tailor's hot. I'm proud to say that she's my buttercup. I'm in love. Ooh, ah, I'm all shook up.
I guess I've always been a rebel. I've always been an individualist, an eccentric. You know, you can call me that if you like. I don't mind that term.
Well, I think Roy is one of London's most important natural resources.
I'm a busker, or also known as a street entertainer. I entertain on the street.
You cannot in this life ever refuse a gift. I remember him saying that. And he was so generous with his comments.
I like it. I like people. I like singing. I sing on the street. And I also do poetry reciting on the street. I like the idea of bringing poetry to the people, bringing poetry to people that won't go to readings, poetry readings, because they think it's a sissy thing or whatever. But I also love singing, making money. There's some money to be made in it, not a lot, but it certainly is a way of making money. And I love people. I love entertaining. And sometimes beautiful women keep me warm. Because we get hugs and kisses from them. So, hey, that's really a benefit of this whole thing. I also consider myself, in a way, a social worker out here. There's a lot of lonely, sad people. A lot of kids, a lot of runaway kids. Some people that equate buskers to say, oh, you know, why don't you get a job? Get a job. Well, this is a job. Busking is a job. I've done all kinds of it, from being in the Air Force many, many years ago, to working on construction, and to working in the post office. I've sold encyclopedias. I've done all sorts of different things, but for short periods of time, usually. But all through, I've been writing. All through, that's the thread that brings together my life and that ties it all together.
He's a wonderful conversationalist. He cares about people, and I think people know that. And he knows so many people from all different stratas of society that he knows doctors, lawyers, surgeons, as well as people who are on the street, people who are artists and writers, and people who are scholars. Roy is a very simple writer, partly because he sees significance in very simple things, and I think that's one of his strengths.
I like his writing. It's even though he's intelligent, he keeps it simple enough that anybody can relate to it and understand it.
Farewell, Diana, princess of compassion. Farewell, Diana, England's rose. You touched our dreams with your gentleness. I've written notes on the walls of my house, on notes, ideas, thoughts, philosophies, on the walls of my house, and on the walls outside too, and on the doors and on the garage. I've written, and on the tree, on some of the trees, which is really eccentric, of course, naturally. But it works for me. I like, you know, I do it for a specific purpose, because I like being surrounded by writing, by literature, by, some of these are quotes, some from my favorite poets.
One photograph in particular, as I hope I've relayed in the painting, is in his eyes you see a childlike innocence and wonderment that you'll see in small children, and just sort of a feeling of he wants more of life and he's interested. He doesn't seem in the least jaded yet. He's still really enjoying himself. And he's childlike in that way. I don't mean intellectually, but in that way about wonderment. And that's something that I felt I wanted to try and portray in the painting.
I've had to do it my way, or I've decided to do it my way. And it's been hard. And I just, you know, almost decided to, you know, to end it all, because it got so bad at certain times. And but I really believe in persisting, and I did persist. And, you know, like with my drinking, if I'd kept on drinking the way I was doing then, during my heavy drinking days, I'd be dead now. There's no doubt about it. I would have, you know, been dead years ago.
Roy was a drinker when they used to call him Pocket Man, but he also was a thinker and he made himself a brand new plan. Said just for today I won't take a drink, nor raise my voice in rage. Been 21 years and he only gets better with age.
Maybe more than most people, he's exercising his choice, you know. He lives more the way he wants to live than maybe most people do. You know, like a lot of people are locked into a routine, a system, whereas Roy has been fortunate enough and maybe intelligent enough to decide for himself what he wants to do and how he wants to live, and I admire that. Yeah.
I like to be free to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And we make trade-offs in this kind of life, but we all make trade-offs. My trade-offs, I have my freedom. I can spend all day, every day, doing exactly what I love to do, and very few people can say that. On the other hand, I don't have much money. I have to be very careful with my money, and so that's the trade-off that I have made for my freedom. When you start thinking of all the things that you have that you're grateful for, you start developing a thankful heart, and counting your blessings. And there are so many. It's a life-transforming experience to concentrate, not on what you don't have, not on the negative things, but on what you're grateful for, what you're thankful for. So my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving Day. I guess I've always lived sort of on the fringes of the fringes of society, or I've been marginalized or on the margins of society, and that's fine. That's okay. That's, you know, I can be happy with that.
I walk the line.